Hello.
I'm Shanah Moore.
And I'm Josh Moore. We're coming to you from Hudson, Florida.
Sunny Hudson, Florida.
Muggy, hot Florida.
But I used to live in Elmira, and I went to Penn Ave UMC. I was a member and I sang in the band. And then I got married at Penn Ave UMC, and then Josh moved me away to Florida.
Out of there.
Where we pretty much moved here and had 2 babies. But Pastor Bill and Linda came to visit us not long ago. They're thinking of moving to the area. And so they stopped in for a visit, and they did ask us to share a little bit of our testimony and a little bit on tithing with you. So my testimony is not as exciting as Josh's. I grew up in church, so I accepted Christ in Sunday school, probably 1st or 2nd grade. I did backslide a little bit, but I've always been saved and always known Christ. Josh's is different.
Yes, definitely. So I did not come to Christ until I was in my mid to late 30s. My family doesn't have a Christian background. Through my wife and my cousin, I started attending church, and one day I went for a few months, and I always enjoyed the message and saw how that could apply to my life at the time, but I wouldn't consider myself a saved person at the time. I do specifically remember the day I became saved, and we had a guest pastor, a retired pastor, had returned to our church to give a sermon, and I still remember I didn't actually want to go to the service because I didn't realize that my favorite pastor wasn't going to be there that day. But either way, at the end of, it was a real touching sermon. I honestly can't even remember what the sermon was about, but at the end, they did the call for anyone wanting to be saved, and I could feel it in my heart that I was ready to take Christ into my life and have him save me and redeem me from all my sins and just show me the way. And I was an actual changed person from that time forward, I believe, right?
And we were still dating when he accepted Christ, and I would have never married him if he wasn't a Christian. So I'm really glad that he made that decision.
Yep.
Not only for the obvious reasons.
Yeah. Obviously, it's been great. Tough struggles, but I love the Lord, and I love to serve the Lord, and I'm happy that things are the way they are for us.
So now we're going to talk a little bit about tithing and how it changed our lives. It definitely changed my life. Before I started tithing, I was a single mom. I struggled for 6 years. I didn't have money for anything. I don't know. When I first started going to Penn Ave UMC, I had recently lost my mom, and I was just like anxiously trying to find friends and stuff to do, and they were having small groups, and I'd never really done that before, but I signed up for one, and we were doing the Transform study by Pastor Rick Warren, and the Transform study talks about how to change every aspect of your life: physical, spiritual, vocational, financial, emotional. And when we got to the financial one, he had said in the video that you could start tithing small at 1% or even 5% and work your way up to the 10%. And I'd never heard that before. I never thought of it that way, where you could start small and work your way up. And so I thought, well, I can do 1%, and that turned into 5, and then through that, things just started happening that changed my life for the better. Like, I would come home and there would be food on my porch, and I didn't know where it came from, or there'd be money in my bank account that shouldn't have been there. And I then became blessed with an amazing job. And through that job, I met my husband, and that's a long story how that happened. So just by trusting God and tithing, like, it doesn't make sense that spending more money would give you more money, but it does, and it works, and it because I took that step of faith, my life is 1,000 times better.
Yeah, and as a married couple, because my story, obviously, like I said, that when I was a single younger person, I wasn't even in church, so I was not familiar with tithing and the purpose of it and things like that. I thought it was more of just money for the church to be able to use. But then as married people, we decided immediately that we would be, obviously, Lord provides us with more than we need now, so there's only right to give Him our first and best. And so that went into the budget immediately, our 10% straight to the Lord. And I would say at first we didn't really embrace it 1,000%. We did make our tithe, but we weren't putting the Lord first. And I think once we changed that and adjusted that to basically the first income of the month that comes in, the Lord gets our offer first. And then ever since we've done that, we have just been blessed in so many different ways, whether it's unexpected money coming our way, health and happiness of our family. When you look on paper and your bills don't make sense, and at the end of every month we have that, if not more. The Lord really, really does want you to put Him to the test, and from our experience, you do that, and it comes back to you tenfold for sure. The more gracious you are with your time and money, the more it works out for you. That definitely does that for us. And just one thing to keep in mind is it's not like for us it's been, walking down the street and you find a bag of money sitting on the road because we tithe to the Lord. It hasn't been like that. It's more of if work, extra day at work comes from nowhere when I need it, things like that. So tithing is definitely a huge part of our faith, and we should all embrace it and just test the Lord and see how it goes. Bye.